In 1966, the science fiction film Fantastic Voyage, directed by Richard Fleischer and written by Harry Kleiner, made its debut on the big screen. The story follows a submarine crew that is miniaturized to a microscopic size to enter the body of an injured scientist and repair damage to his brain. The film stars Stephen Boyd, Raquel Welch, Edmund O'Brien, Donald Pleasence, and Arthur Kennedy. Bantam Books retained the rights to novelize the screenplay and approached Isaac Asimov for the task. Interestingly, the novel was released 6 months before the movie, leading many to mistakenly believe that the film was based on the book, whereas it was actually the reverse. Such occurrences are rare, but they do happen occasionally. The original concept for the film was created by Otto Clement and Jerome Bixby. They sold the idea to Fox, which announced it would be the most expensive science fiction film ever made. Richard Fleischer was chosen to direct, with Saul David producing. Fleischer had an advantage in directing this film as he had studied medicine and human anatomy in college before switching to film directing. Initially, the film's budget was set at $5 million, but it eventually rose to $6 million. Around $3 million was allocated for the sets and about $1 million for test footage. This was Stephen Boyd's first film in Hollywood in 5 years, and Raquel Welch's first role at Fox, having been signed after being spotted in a beauty contest. The time the miniaturized crew spends inside the body is depicted in real time, taking up nearly an hour of the movie. Remarkably, in the late 1980s, medical schools used clips from the film to illustrate concepts in human anatomy, physiology, and immunology. Although the miniaturization of people remains fictional, many concepts from the film resemble actual medical procedures. One of the scenes where the crew swims outside the submarine was filmed on dry sound stages with the actors suspended by wires. These wires, treated with acid to prevent reflections, were prone to breaking. The scenes were filmed at a speed 50% faster than normal and then played back at regular speed to create the illusion of swimming in a dense medium. One now defunct ride at Disney's Epcot Center, called Body Wars, was inspired by this movie, despite not being a Disney production. Richard Fleischer had previously directed Disney's first science fiction movie, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, establishing his connection to Disney. The film is also notable for its lack of music over the opening credits, a technique similar to Alfred Hitchcock's approach in The Birds, 1963. Produced the same year as Lost in Space, the sets and sound effects of Fantastic Voyage bear noticeable similarities. The original on-screen prologue, shown right after the 20th Century Fox logo, declares, "This film will take you where no one has ever been before. Though no witness has actually seen what you're about to see in this world of ours, with the moon landing soon upon us and incredible things happening all around us, someday, perhaps tomorrow, the fantastic events you're about to see can and will take place." Interestingly, the movie's plot borrows partially from a 1965 episode of the sitcom I Dream of Jeannie, titled The Moving Finger. In this episode, Major Anthony Nelson works as a technical consultant for a movie where an American astronaut is miniaturized and injected into the bloodstream of a Soviet astronaut to retrieve vital information. The screenplay for Fantastic Voyage was completed in 1964, based on a story from 1963. The design and special effects were groundbreaking at the time, earning a photo spread in Life magazine. In a book by special effects artist L.B. Abbott, he describes using a giant champagne glass built for another movie for a whirlpool sequence in Fantastic Voyage. Scenes set in the expansive corridors of the secret medical facility were filmed at the Los Angeles Memorial Sports Arena, the same location used for exterior shots in Soylent Green, 1973. During filming, one of the two 3-inch Proteus models used in the miniaturization sequence was left in an open window and carried off by a crow. The film never explains why the Proteus crew must communicate via code rather than voice transmission. Apart from the saboteur, the crew exits the body before returning to normal size. But the Proteus remains inside, along with the remains of the saboteur, who was digested by white blood cells. Isaac Asimov pointed out this logical flaw, noting that the submarine, even if reduced to debris, would revert to normal size, killing the patient. He addressed this in his novel by having the crew lure white blood cells to drag the submarine to the tear duct, where its wreckage would expand outside the body. During the filming of scenes where antibodies are removed from Raquel Welch, director Richard Fleischer initially allowed actors to grab at will. To avoid her breasts, they created what Fleischer described as a Vegas showgirl effect. On the second take, he instructed them to grab her breasts, resulting in a similar effect. Finally, Fleischer choreographed the scene to ensure precise hand placement for the final cut. It is said that Raquel Welch was infatuated with Stephen Boyd during filming, but he declined her advances. The film received mostly positive reviews, with some criticisms. Discussions about a sequel or remake have been ongoing since 1984, but remain in development limbo. Renowned directors like James Cameron expressed interest, but chose to focus on other projects, such as Avatar. Fantastic Voyage remains a classic, with its special effects considered dated by today's standards. However, it was groundbreaking for its time and remains an enjoyable film to revisit. We'll end here. Thank you for your attention. Like and subscribe. There are many interesting things ahead. Good luck.